The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength, Halliday! Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner, by knockout, is Halliday! Halliday, bring it on!
That's your money saying it's time for a McDonald's run. Because with new McValue at McDonald's, you get more than you expect. Like buy a 6-piece McNuggets and add a McChicken for just $1. Your money says let's go. Get more than you expect with new McValue. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing
Basketball. Here's our hosts, Steve Collins. And Bill Flitter.
All right, welcome to Coaching Youth Hoops. Episode 8,612. I don't know what episode we're on.
I don't know what episode.
It's good. That's a good sign for a podcast when you lose track of I'm starting that new one, the combination defense one. I'm starting that. I didn't tell you that when we were off the air.
No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
That's easy because I know what episode I have to do and stuff. But when you get to like Coach Unplugged, which has 1,500, or this one, once you get above 20, it becomes like, I don't know. I stopped saying which episode we're doing. But before we jump in, Coaching Youth Hoops brought to you by the Coaching Youth Hoops membership. Go over and check it out. Everything you need for Coaching Youth Hoops and
basketballpracticeplans.com. Coaches, just go there. They are practice plans ready to download. Maybe you're already a couple weeks into your season. You're like, what do you teach next? They're down. Just download what I've already created for you. Just plug and play. Even if you've already started your season, there's 24 practice plans, or you can create a custom plan if you need something.
Everything you need. Everything for practice plans you need. And Coach is going to kill me for saying this, but he also does custom ones.
Yes, I do.
He's going to kill me because his season has probably already started by the time this has come. So I'm not speaking for him, but if you want a custom one, you better jump in like quick, because he's gonna his time is limited once the season starts. So him and I have not talked about this, but I'm going to tell him off the air that he should limit the number of those custom ones he does once the season starts. Otherwise, he'll be divorced because he won't like see his wife ever. He'll be doing custom baskets and practice plans in his office.
That's right.
He's a year behind. I think you're a year behind me. I got 25 coming up. My 25th this summer, and I think you're at 24, right?
Let's see. What year are we in? We're 22. We just celebrated our 23rd.
Yeah. So he's a year behind me. Me. So I can't be that fatherly with only one more year of marriage. But anyway.
But the other thing, coaches, I also have the ABC Motion offense. If you're kind of stuck teaching an offense, go check that out. That's at basketballpracticeplans.com/youth-motion offense. So we'll get that in the show notes. So,
what the hell?
I find it on the site. Go to the footer of the website.
Yeah, go to the footer of the website. That's a lot easier.
We bought all those URLs. That's why.
Well, the problem is, and this is me. Like when we're done here, I'm gonna go walk my dogs because it's a nice day out today. But when people are always saying that on the podcast I'm listening to, they go backward slash or forward. I don't know the difference between those things.
Oh, really?
No.
Well, you know what I'm gonna do right now?
Anyway.
I have to look at I actually bought the URL, so I have to look at what it is, and I'll just redirect it by the time this podcast airs.
There you go. It's done. Okay. So what are we talking? We're talking about how to teach things at youth practices, right? A little bit today. Was that our?
Yeah, a little bit, with more of an emphasis on small-sided games. right? And
Yes.
playing and getting more.
So I don't know who coined small-sided games, but I've been doing small-sided games for 35 years. Like,
yeah,
whoever coined it, good for you, TMU, whatever. But I mean, part of teaching at the youth level is, first of all, making it fun, but also
that's right.
teaching skills by doing. And that's what small-sided games are. It's, 2-on-2, 2-on-3, reading in the screen, reading the pop, reading, like limiting the constraints, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago. But that's what a small-sided game is. Maybe you're working on down screens or something. You're going to set up a small-sided game and constrain it enough that you're working on that specific type of down screen or cross screen, whatever you're doing. Is what a small-sided game is, for those of you that are listening, that don't know what I'm talking about. But it's a game-based skill breakdown. Is that a good summary, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, what I always say in my practice plans, when I design the practice plans, I always try to pick drills that you're teaching offense and defense at the same time. It's just the emphasis. So during a quote unquote, the offensive section of my practice plan, defense will be on the floor, but the emphasis is on the offense, right? So defense, I may say they're going 50%, or right, just to have a body in front of you, maybe when you're first teaching something. But it does add that element of I think the kids are going to relate it better to what to do in situations when there is that defense. Again, it's just, it's adding it. You're playing a game. You can determine how competitive the defensive side is. For example, if you are teaching offense, and of course vice versa. It's just a great way to teach both at the same time.
Right. It's smaller groups. It's more kids being active. That's what it is. It allows, you're managing under game-like conditions in a smaller group. And if anyone that's taught like I have, that it's easier to teach in smaller groups than bigger groups. And the exercises, there's a correlation between what you're doing in that small-sided group. Tends to be in a smaller space too, for the most part.
Yeah.
You don't tend to do 2-on-2 full court. But it tends to be in a smaller constrained space. And that's where you're kind of teaching that specific thing. And the benefits, there's a lot more motivation for them than when you're sitting and doing, a quote unquote drill. Now, there's fundamentals, there's drills, there's things that need to be taught, but you're trying to teach them refined skills in a game-based theory. And that's why it works, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no doubt about it. And
Hilton brings you new ways to stay with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
I get a lot of questions about, utilizing practice time and more efficiently. And that is utilizing practice time more efficiently, period.
Right. And especially if you have more than a couple baskets, it works really well. Now, I know a lot of youth coaches have smaller baskets, but even if you do that, if you can break them up into groups of 5 on each basket, and do your small-sided games, things with that. Again, it's a buzzword, like synergy in business. Like, does the business have synergy?
Out of the box,
thinking out of the box. Like, it's one of those buzzwords, and I get it. But it is an important aspect, I think, of teaching, and it's an important aspect of especially coaching at the youth level. The lower down you go, the more game-based you should be. Not that you shouldn't be game-based with a junior in high school, and you are. But there's some other nuances that have to happen, I think. And also I have them for a longer period and more days, and I can do other things. Yeah. But, it should be inversely. You're dealing with kindergartens. A lot of the games should be kind of taught and based in that avenue, I think.
But you talked about the breakdowns, right? It's not always 5-on-5. It could be, 1-on-1 for that matter, right? 2-on-2. It could be 3 against 4, right? So it depends on what you're teaching and what you want to emphasize during that 5-minute drill that you're doing. Right?
Right. Yes. And the thing is, change the constraints. Like maybe you're working on attacking the rim, or maybe you're limiting the dribbles, or you're eliminating. So we can help you with that, but you can also be creative and think about what do you want to work on and how can I constrain it to allow it. Like there's times when we're working on our offense, and I won't let them dribble at all because I'm trying to get movement. I'm constraining something that they want to do that doesn't necessarily help with setting screens, with reading screens, with whatever we're specifically working on at that point. So those constraints, going back, like I said, a couple weeks ago, should fit into your small-sided games too.
Yeah. And maybe on the defensive side, a constraint may be the number of players you're putting on the court. Could be the no paint touches, right? And the defense gets points if they don't allow the offense to go into the paint, right? Maybe on the offensive side too, the ball. I love this one. I've been doing this one. The play starts with running our out of bounds play, right? And then you do our out of bounds play, and then depending what happens after that, right? Maybe the offense gets the offensive rebound. Or they have to set up in their offense, or the defense gets a stop, and then you can trade sides or whatever. But again, that's a concept of a small-sided game. It's just, or start it from your sideline out of bounds play, right? So just lots of opportunities. You don't have to necessarily Google small-sided games. It's like take a drill, right, and add the offense or defense to it, and then, as Coach Collins said, is to do the add the constraints to it, and then you have a small-sided game, right? And score it. I think scoring it it makes it competitive. Yep.
And smaller groups tend to work. I consider small-sided games less than 3-on-3. That's me. I don't know if there's a formal definition to it. Yeah. But I think when you get 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, or you get to bigger groups, it's not small-sided. It's not small anymore. It's big. It's almost the actual game. So I consider anything 3-on-3 and less.
Okay, that's a good definition.
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I'm making that up right now. I don't know. I've never seen anything on what constitutes a small-sided game. Because once I get to 4-on-4, it looks too similar to what. And again, maybe we call them large-sided games. I don't know. There you go. TM trademark it. Large-sided games. But anyway, when you're doing 5-on-5, you can do the same constraints and all those kind of things in there. It's just you're not getting the reps in the small-sided stuff. But I think it's a great way to teach the game.
I agree.
All right. Yeah. Anything else, Coach?
Yes. Go to youthmotionoffense.com and download the ABC's offense. There you go.
There you go. You can also, if you coach an advanced youth team, then you can go to the ruleof3offense.com. That's easy. Either the number 3 or the right out 3. I have them both. Awesome. All right, until next week. Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.